Hey, everybody, welcome to the first episode of my new show, which may be called Test Driven Everything. We'll see. This is only episode number one. I haven't thought of a title for the show yet. This is about a article I spent the whole day writing, um, and I'll get right into it. I just want to do kind of a voiceover version of what's been on my mind today. So, you know, we've all seen how ChatGPT and modern AI tools have affected the way we live and work in maybe small, maybe large ways, depending on the person. But we can all probably agree that 10 years ago, when someone, let's say, brought you a question or a piece of work, and you said back, "Hey, did you Google it first? Like, did you Google how to do a good marketing plan? Did you Google, what makes for a good report?" And now it's different. It's, have you incorporated feedback from ChatGPT yet? Right? Or whatever AI tools may be appropriate for the task. And this applies whether you're talking about obvious things that are good for AI chatbots like writing, but also other things, project plans, research and analysis, scientific work, technical work like coding, even other media like presentations and other visual things, video, graphics, anything you can fit in a context window of AI, you can get feedback on, and it improves your work project, work product. So I think about myself and I think about my team, my company. Right, I'm a founder and CEO of a company, and this is something we have just started implementing at our company. I want to put it into words. So it's called Test Driven Everything. And here's the idea, okay? For every project that you work on now, you will write a prompt for an AI related to that project. You might do it after you've already written a first draft or created the first draft of something, right? You go to the AI bot and you're going to say something like, "Hey, I'm writing an article about a new concept I thought of called Test Driven Everything, or TDE." Right? The audience is the following. My goal is the following. I want it to be persuasive, engaging, inspiring, and fun. I want to introduce this new idea that I have for this like methodology that could impact work and professional lives and technology and operating models and all this stuff. And some of the implications I see are this and this and this. And the article has to be the following, right? And let's start with a little bit of an example and a story, and then maybe we return to it at the end. And here's my current draft. Okay, here's my current draft. You paste it below, right, or upload the file. Please give me critical feedback to help me achieve my goals, right? So a really good prompt is this test that will improve almost any type of professional knowledge work. And what I've noticed is, and for myself, and I think for a lot of other people out there already, when your employee, right, your team member brings you something, isn't the first thing you're thinking, have you used AI effectively to enhance this work, right? The way you approached it, the ideas that you have in it, the way you put it all together, getting feedback. And you take that prompt with your first draft to, a bunch of different tools. Okay, maybe in a different scenario, a lot of us have seen that we like to actually start with the AI. So why wait until you've written a whole draft, right? Let's just write the prompt to get a good first draft to work with, just to get ideas, to see how the AI approaches it. So you write a very similar prompt, right? You're describing what you're looking for in detail. And instead of ending with, "Please give me feedback," you end with, "Please write a first draft." Take that to your favorite, whatever, 3, 5, 7 AI tools, however you're approaching things right now, and choose the right model, right? Choose the right configuration, to whether it's you're looking for search or research or deep research or thinking mode, right? And you got to be good at this stuff too, right? You got to get good at this stuff, and get first drafts, right? This also required you to write a good prompt. Now, okay, what's the next thing you do? Whether you started with your own first draft or you started by looking at first drafts of something that were made by AI, what's going to happen over time is you're going to improve the prompt, right? The first thing you write, it could be short. It could be like this idea you had yesterday or over the past week that you threw like a 1-paragraph verbal note that you had made into your phone into deep research and say, "Write me a paper on this." right? Maybe you start there. Either way, that's not your last prompt in this project, right? You're going to be writing a lot more about what it is that you're thinking, what it is that you're looking for. As a project progresses, you'll be working on the prompt. Maybe you have multiple prompts, right? That help you with different elements of the project, and you're going to want to uh, basically use those as a test. That's the central the idea behind test driven everything is the prompt becomes your test. Whether you write it initially as a test, which is what I'm saying we kind of should do and think about it that way, or you wrote it just to ideate, it becomes a test because at some point you've got to go to these tools, show them what you did, describe really well it right in writing and with whatever else you can fit in an AI context window, right, documents, whatever. Um, get really good feedback on it. Otherwise, your manager, right, which I'm saying like it's me and my company is starting to do this, right? I'm not accepting your work if you haven't done this already. It's a way to make the work better in almost every situation. Okay, so everyone's got to do this, and everyone's going to start doing this if they're not already. Um, and again, in every step along the way, I'm not saying this is easy, and we'll get to how this can actually be very challenging. But one of my observations is okay. So there's this prompt or set of prompts or tests that goes along with these artifacts, right? They're artifacts in a corporate setting, in a professional setting, and almost every project is going to have these. Meaning it's going to affect the way almost everyone works on a day-to-day basis in almost every professional setting, right? Because you can't even imagine, it's hard to imagine situations where you could not get a little bit of advice from using an AI tool really well to do your job better, especially again in the professional world and the knowledge world. And this is going to change the tools people need. Maybe obvious in some ways to get their job done, but not just like introducing the bots. Like the bots are here, but how the hell do you manage all these prompts? The number of prompts that were involved in me writing this paper or article and then producing tweets and doing this podcast, so many prompts with so many different tools, different models, different approaches for different reasons. Even as I developed the idea and kept developing the idea. So one of my interesting observations is that this is actually really hard, right? This is not easy. The way I've been working recently is actually requiring more work and more time because I'm having to write these really good prompts and I'm having to be thoughtful about describing what it is I'm trying to achieve, right? Again, whether I'm asking for a first draft or I'm asking for feedback. And it's interesting because everyone always talks about how AI is going to take all our jobs, right? Or generally like take over from human labor. And also make our lives easier and increase our productivity. Now, all that will happen in many ways. However, in my experience with this new way of working that seems clearly better and spreading, is that it's not always faster, right? You're actually doing extra work. It's harder. You have to think more deeply about it. You have to really think intelligently about how you're documenting right ahead of time or while you're doing the work. And again, that's why I call it test driven everything, which we'll get to the reason behind the name. But especially ever since all the deep research stuff came out, I guess this has been several months. I don't remember exactly. This is contributing to every single thing I do and every single thing that my company does. And it's not like a shortcut, right? It's not helping us get things done faster that we were otherwise not doing, but suddenly we can do everything really well. And maybe we even do fewer things, but we like 3 or 4 projects instead of 5 or 6 projects at a time, but we're doing them really well. And it's different types of projects that different people can do. So, this idea of kind of, I think what everyone is seeing, right, is that every founder, teammate, employee, whatever, can leverage the entire knowledge of the internet, including books and everything, right, videos, the light speed research and analytics that you can apply to these things. And maybe you wait 10 or 30 minutes these days, but that's light speed for what it's doing for you. And it's your guide and your assistant and your teacher and your critic for almost anything you can describe in English or other media, right? And it's on demand. And it's creative and it can create, it can draft, it can critique. And so while it's not easier or faster, it's better, right? And we'll have to reorient things around this new way of working. For example, in an organization that's very small, it's not that hard, right? It's like that really one pizza team. it doesn't matter if like I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do that thing instead of you. You do this thing instead of this. Let's change the process rather than documenting here, we document there. But for a larger enterprise, even a medium-sized enterprise, I think even if you're like multiple units or departments, suddenly the skills, the things people are capable of doing, think of it as business capabilities and maybe tech capabilities, right, have changed. And that means that the way you orient the whole op model, right, the whole organization, the whole capability model, op model, team structure, everything about kind of organizational psychology, it all has to change and be rethought because everyone's capabilities have just changed. And even if it's slowing us down, right, it's helping us do work better. And I think ultimately the sum total, once we adjust, it could be, you know, a 10x productivity gain. But along the way, actually, this is challenging. I think a company that's started today, they might not even notice that they're doing it. They're just using AI tools for everything that they can think of and maybe finding they have some leverage, but it's whatever. But for the bigger your enterprise already is, it could be hard to change your operating and capability models, business and tech architecture, and even enterprise-wide collaboration. How do you collaborate on this? Sure, maybe wikis. Wikis are a good start, and wikis and note-sharing apps. Where are you going to keep track of all the prompts and how they evolve over time and the results? Because you don't want to run the result over and over and over again. And even if you do, collect the result, make it part of the evolution that anyone contributing to the project can leverage and see. Really powerful. You know, one thought I had earlier is like, well, some people might say, well, this is just management. Like you're basically telling me that you're defining objectives ahead of time. You're defining performance indicators ahead of time, right? You're defining goals ahead of time, whatever it is. Obviously, right? Everybody does that in business and management. And look, test-driven everything has, and the way we're using AI today shares a lot of qualities with those things, like you're outcome-oriented and documentation-oriented, right? All these systems require you to document things really well and systematically across an enterprise to be most effective. But those types of measures, they're not as creative and subjective as what you can do with prompts as tests, right? So now, you know, your prompts, you can say what tone you're trying to use, right? We went into an example earlier, everything about what you're trying to do. Hey, give me feedback on that. And as you can see, this TDE, test-driven everything, it applies on a more microscopic level in the organization. This is not going to replace grow revenue by 10% in Q2, right? As a OKR or a KPI or whatever. It's a separate issue. But every single project that every single person works on is going to have prompts involved with it. And it's going to have tests which are effectively going to work as tests. And those tests are key artifacts and tools for ideating, creating, and reflecting on almost every project. So where did I get the idea for this name? And for some reason, once I had this idea, I had to write an article about it. Was from the concept of test-driven development, TDD, that many people are probably familiar with, at least in the software development and IT and technology world. It's a concept in software engineering or development of applications, especially in enterprise environments, where you actually write tests before you write the code. Right? You write the test that says, here's what this function is supposed to do. Here's what this object is supposed to do. Here's what this is supposed to do. And you write the test literally in code, and then you go and you build the thing. And it's a really good way of making sure everything is tested. Okay. Everything is validated on a small level and on a larger level, right? If you do it really well, if it's working as intended. And this can be a nice way to build really reliable apps that are really effective. Okay. To me, this new idea, test-driven everything, TDE, is similar. It's taking this write the test first mindset to outside of just software development and to all kinds of work. Why not? This is something agile teams do a lot, right? It's something software development teams do. So let's write the test first, maybe before starting a task even, whether it's a marketing presentation, writing a research paper, or planning an event, or making a decision. One of the first things you will probably do, think about your day-to-day if you're using AI heavily today, is start writing a prompt. And just from the beginning, just like you might also have a goal or target outcomes or target results. And because you're going to regularly get feedback from AI as you work on the project, you need to have really well-documented prompts as you go. So and systems for that, right? Because just like we have systems for KPIs and OKRs, I think we're going to need systems, right, to help us track and leverage these prompts that are tests that evolve over time. And we will all have basically continuous expert guidance on almost any work that we do while we iterate on the clear, you got to write a clear and developing vision of your end goal so that AI can give you feedback, just like developers have done with TDD for years. So I want to try to close by saying tests are all you need. I did name it after attention is all you need. I feel like I just turned 40 recently. I've seen many tech evolutions, revolutions, whatever you want to call it. I've started a lot of companies. I've invested in companies. I've also worked in corporate America at one of the biggest investment management firms in the world in IT, in architecture. And I love thinking about tech trends. And I'm thinking about people in my life like Amy Webb or Nino Sarwano, because tech trends are things that are so fun to work on and identify and evaluate, especially in big corporate settings or maybe just in the world at large. And I think this idea of test-driven everything, TDE, is kind of a methodology or a trend. It's a tech trend for 2025. I think it's going to be the top tech trend for 2025. I mean, that's what I think. I think my own company, right, starting several days ago or a couple of weeks ago, and what I think is a cool idea for everyone to try is, if it's a large enterprise, consider literally a corporate change management program, right? Or tech innovation program. If you have an emerging technology team or innovation team, you're going to have to think about how do you actually implement this idea or methodology across your entire operating model. And how do you think about that? And so tests are all you need, right, to have this massive effect. And I think what's interesting too, a lot of people would say, oh, well, we're waiting for AI, enterprise AI, right? They're building cool stuff with enterprise AI, or we're taking our customer service or our marketing and automating it into AI. And that's all great. And it's kind of different, right? But if we're looking there for the biggest impact, I think we'll miss the boat, because the biggest impact is this test-driven everything, TDE, or in other words, just the way we're using AI today, right? And the way we can quickly leverage what is currently available. Right, that's the crazy thing. This paradigm shift in ways of working, operating models, et cetera, that will create higher quality output on almost every task or project in almost any industry for the people who can master this, and companies who can change fast enough, and have people who can master and change with the company. If we can all do this, the change is going to be transformational. I can't wait to see what I can accomplish within my own company as we continue to apply this heavily across the board. And again, I want to reflect on one of the most interesting things to me, which is this vision for the future of work will initially be harder and slower, especially for enterprises, medium and large enterprises, harder and slower to adopt when we adopt these AIs, not easier and faster. But the impact will be huge and extremely positive by applying, and I think this is the final point. So the technology for the transformation I'm talking about, for technology-driven everything, for basically putting AI into every single knowledge worker, every professional, everywhere in a structured way, and having tools for it. The technology is available today. The technology is already available. This is ChatGPT 4.5 with deep research. This is Google Notebook to help you work on something. It is Claude being good at writing, right? It's Grok having access to kind of cool and the latest information and being edgy. Things like ChatGPT giving you feedback on your prompt when you ask for something with deep research mode, and helping you even think through what you're asking it. I mean, it's just incredible. The way I want to close this out is by saying that the technology to achieve what I'm talking about is already ready. It's already out there. It's all over the place, and it's not even that expensive. The most impactful thing that AI will do to the workforce in 2025 is ready for you to do today. And I guess let's all do it together. Thank you.